Okay, we'll start the recording. Let me start the recording. Um, okay, so then we are talking about week 2 Java. Okay, so I hope it. Let me just share one more time. Hold on. Okay. So what is a Java class? Let's try to understand this. It's a very fundamental concept in terms of very well. Okay, it is internet just a sec. Okay, let's see. So Java is an object-oriented programming, and it is absolutely essential for us to understand what is Java class. Class is basically a template from which you can create different instances. Class is basically a template from which you can create different instances. I've explained this in the video that, let me create a project, Java week 2 summary, right? And a new package, test Java. And in here, we will talk about, I'm creating a simple class. The class is students class. Okay, I'm talking about Wisdom QA students. So as a, the information that I know about you guys are something like this. String, so private, let me go for private, or even public, that's fine. Let's give it public for now. We'll talk about private later on. So public string name, public string name, public string job, public string location, right? And for example, I know about your email address, public string email, email. So what am I doing, guys? I'm trying to create a template, which is containing some attributes for student type. So this is a student. I'm trying to create a student, or I'll just say student. I can refactor this. So refactor rename, always do it like this. Refactor rename and just change the student, finish. So a student is having a name, job, location, and email. I'm talking about Wisdom QA students. By the way, I just got Emmanuel come here. Hi, Emmanuel. Thank you for coming in. So I think this is your first class with me. This is our weekly second week summary call. More or less everybody has given their introduction from the kickoff session, but you are joining from today. So if you don't mind, could you please quickly give us your like profile, like what do you do and why are you here for? Do you hear me? Emmanuel? Hello? You can unmute, or I can ask you to unmute. Yeah.
Hello, sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining. So this is a weekly call that I take, a summary class that I take. And in the whole week, I have given you the kickoff session videos. If you have gone through it, you will know that every week I'm releasing 3 videos, and everybody is watching the videos, completing the assignments and uploading the assignments. And then I am coming back in the live class, and then I am going through all the topics that are being covered in the video, taking up all the questions if they have, and that's how we are progressing to the next week. So that's what we are doing. So could you please give me your introduction, like, or give us your introduction, like, where are you from, what you do, and what brings you here?
Oh yes, yeah, my name is Emmanuel Ide. Um, I actually live in London, but I moved to Colchester in March, and I've worked with Thunder, and I've worked with Easy Jess, but I got my new role with in technical Manchester United before during the before the pandemic actually started in March, and but because of the pandemic, everything actually went off, and we couldn't actually start because it was actually a new project. So since then, I moved to University of Colchester, Essex, the IT department with a system administrator, and I've been doing that. And but lately, I've not been able to join the class because my missus actually just got back from the hospital yesterday, so that's why. So that, yeah, that's why I'm here this morning because I think I might be a little bit free. And
Right.
even you, yeah, you can still be hearing some noise from the background. My little ones are downstairs, so I'm just upstairs. So
Right.
that's why.
And the other thing is that what brings you to the QA, right? You're in system administration, so why do you want to jump into software testing or software automation?
No, no, no. Yeah, yeah. Normally, I've been a manual tester.
Okay,
So yeah, so that's why I just want to progress and I'm getting to automation. Then that's yeah,
that's good. That's good.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Please do join the channel that we have here, which is the November 2020 channel. Are you into? Did you get into the Slack?
Not yet.
You have to create an account with wisdomqa.com, right?
Okay.
And did you create the account?
I've not because I've not been able to go through everything you're saying to me because I told you my hand had been so tight.
Okay.
So yeah, so but yeah, she just got back yesterday, so I should be fine this coming week. So yeah, before
All
the
right. No
next
problem.
class, I'll be able to I will double up and I'll catch up.
Sure. Cool. Thank you. All right. So what am I discussing here is about Java class, and I'm trying to show you that how a Java class can be used as a blueprint to create multiple different objects out of it. So for example, I'm just creating a simple Java class, which is student. In this student Java class, I'm creating 4 variables. These variables are basically, from class perspective, I can say they are attributes. Okay, basically student is having 4 of these attributes: name, job, location, email, and they can do some jobs. For example, public void, they can study or learn automation. Okay, not even that. Let me make it even more logical. We'll say public void, um, watch videos, watch videos, watch class videos, and then we will say the other one is public void, um, complete assignments, complete assignments, complete assignments. Okay, and primary these two. So I'll just say sysout. I'm just trying to print out name plus watching videos. So when I call this method, it should print out this particular print statement, and then completing assignments, something like that. Completing assignments. Okay, so you can see that I have created. So what are these things? These are ideally from programming perspective. These guys that I'm writing right now, these are variables. These are variables. That means it can store some data. They can store some data, and that data can be again changed because it's a variable. You give a name and then you can change the name again, right? So it's a variable, and then you have stuff like methods or properties. From class perspective, they are properties or methods. Okay, I'm going to call this methods. What are methods? You will know it later much better. But for now, you can see that this is a method which will simply print out a statement like so. Okay, so complete assignments and watch videos are these two methods. Totally fine. And we have some variables up here. Totally fine. Now, this is my blueprint. This is my blueprint that I created. Now, I can create another class, which will be my runner class. So, test student. I'm testing the student. So, this student is going to have a main method, because from the main method, I can start the class. Okay, I can start the code. So what I will do is I will start creating the students. So I can say student Joanna, new student. And what am I doing here is I'm creating an object of student, but I'm giving the name of that object as Joanna. If you remember last week when I spoke to you about the JVM, I spoke to you about heap memory, stack memory. I did talk about the heap memory, and I said that all the objects are residing inside the heap memory. All the objects are residing inside the heap memory. So which means if I am calling this particular line, if I'm just executing this particular line, student Joanna student equals student Joanna equals new student. As soon as I'm writing this particular line, what's happening here is I am creating an object in the memory. I'm creating an object in the memory named as Joanna. And this memory that I've created, or this particular object that I've created, it is assigned to a particular location in the JVM, which is in the heap memory. It is having its own location. And this location is going to have, it is right now ready to store some data. Just by writing this line, I have not added any data into the object Joanna. I have not. But if I just do this, if I say Joanna dot name, Joanna dot dot job software tester, Joanna dot location, I'll say Ireland, Joanna dot by the way, there's a shortcut to copy the top line to the bottom line. So Control Alt down, We'll copy it. So this is Joanna dot email. Some email I'll give, right? Right. If I am doing this, if I am assigning these values to it, then all these information, all these name, job, location, email, everything will be preserved in the memory location Joanna. So Joanna is basically an object that I created out of student, and that object is going to store all the information about Joanna. Now, if I go ahead and if I create another object, for example, Alex, and I change this guys to Alex, and then I just give the name Alex, software tester Ireland, it's all same, alex@gmail.com, then immediately what's happening here is I am creating a separate memory location, and that memory location is having the information about Alex. So what exactly I'm trying to say here is, that every time I'm creating an of um, object of a particular student, you are basically reserving a location in the heap memory. So heap memory will keep all our objects. Heap memory will keep all our objects. Now, do you have any questions with whatever I just said? So I have used one template, that is student, and out of that I can create n number of objects back to back, and there is no problem in that. Am I making sense with it? I can even go ahead and I can obviously call my methods. I can say Joanna dot uh, complete, no, watch videos, watch class videos, and dot complete assignments. Okay. Similarly up here, just replace this with Alex. Now I would like to understand whatever I just said right now. Do you have any questions about it, or is it making sense? You're creating a template. From that template, you can create n number of objects. Each and every object is different from each other because of two things. One is that they have different location, and two, they have different data, right? Actually, I will say because they are in two different locations, not the data. Even if the data is same, it doesn't. They're still different. They're still different. Am I making sense with it?
I have a question, Subik.
Yeah.
If in the student class, if you had made your variables private, you'd have to use getters and setters then to
set the values. That's right.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's all.
Good. Any other questions from anyone else? Now, when I said when they are different, when the data are same, even then they are different. How do you know that? So look at it. I'm just running a simple command over here. Sysout if objects same. If objects same, right? And I'd say something like this. I say what? I say Joanna dot equals dot equals Alex. Okay, let's see what does it print. So let me just go ahead and run this piece, run as Java application. If I say this, then obviously it did print the information that we have printed out in our watch class videos and complete assignments. You see they have printed for Joanna and Alex, no problem at all. And then saying if object same, it is saying false. They are not same. You can obviously argue with me that they are not same because the data are different. So they are obviously not same, but that is not true, because if I simply go ahead and comment this out, and I will make the same information available for both Alex object as well as Joanna object. Okay, if I just go and if I just run my code right now, I'm still getting false. You see, this one got changed. The value, actual value that I changed, basically, got into consideration. That's the reason why it is saying Joanna watching methods, watching. Oh, my bad. Watching methods I've written anyways. Watching videos, right? So Joanna watching videos and Joanna completing assignments, they came up twice. Because I have simply replaced the information down here, right? However, this line is still giving me false. Why it is like that? It is like that because Joanna and Alex, they are in two different memory locations. So data doesn't really matter. Even if the data is same, the objects are not equal to each other. If the data is same, the objects are not equal to each other. The objects can be equal to each other if I do something like this. Joanna equal to Alex. What does it mean? What does it mean is that the Alex object that I created, okay, that information is now supplied to Joanna object. So ideally, that means Alex is not having its own location anymore. Alex's location is actually pointed to Joanna's location. That is how they are considered to be one single object now. And if I go ahead and run this right now, I get the value as true. The rest of them are same, no problem with that. But at this moment, when I said Alex is equals to Joanna is equals to Alex, so Alex area or memory location is not going to be there anymore. It will be pointing to Joanna's location. So which means this location, this Alex location that was preserved until this line 28 will be now taken care by something called as garbage collector. Garbage collector is a concept in Java that gets automatically kicked in when this kind of situation comes in place, right? When this kind of situation comes in place, garbage collector automatically kicks in and it tries to figure it out if there is any memory which is unclaimed. Like Alex information is right now unclaimed because Alex is now pointing to Joanna's memory location. So Alex location is now unclaimed. If it is like that, then garbage collector will kick in and it will give you, it will remove that information. It will remove that location. It will clear that location, ideally. Whatever I just said, is it making sense? Guys, ask me a question, please. Akub, Eric, Joanna, Matthew, Susan, Prajwal, Any questions?
No, sorry, I don't have any question. Got it.
Okay, perfect. Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Supriya, Sindhu, Supriya, do you have a question? No? Okay, good. All right, that's perfect. So I'll just quickly clear up everything. Okay, so clear up everything and let's move on to the next piece, which is in here. So this is exactly what I am doing in this particular slide deck. I'm creating a template of car, brand, model, engine size, and seating capacity. And then I'm creating 3 different objects out of it. Each one of them are different from each other because they have different memory location, right? And also the data is also different. One is Volkswagen, one is Aston Martin, one is Suzuki, correct? So that is basically what is class. Now, how to create a class? Creating a class is very simple. You can simply go to your Eclipse. You can say right click on the package, new class, give a name to the class, and finish. That will create a class like this, which I created a few minutes back. And then you can add your variables, you can add your methods, and that's it. Okay. So let's go to the next part again. What are different members in a class? Ideally, there are multiple different types of members. When I say members, like what are the things, what can you put in a class? That is what we are trying to say here, right? So we are going to put in things like variables, we can put in things like constants, we can put in things like methods and constructors. Okay, these are generally the stuff that you will put in inside a class, and we will walk through each and every one of them one by one, right? The first thing that we are mostly concerned about is a variable and a method. Okay, variables and methods. So you can see that I have created variables. Ideally, from class perspective, they are attributes. A student will have these attributes, but ideally from Java perspective, they're nothing but variables. And then we have methods, or from class perspective, they are properties, because students are performing some action. So it is their properties, like they are watching videos, they are completing assignments, they are doing some job. So they are properties. Those are properties. And then I have methods. Those are basically methods. So for now, I'm saying this guy is system.out.println. So right now, I'm not really performing any operation within this method. I'm just simply printing out. Okay, both the methods I'm printing out. Similarly, you can see in here, I'm saying that I have variables and I have a print brand name property. This class is having property called as print brand name, which is going to print the brand name that you supply to it. Correct? So what is methods? We will talk about that in a few minutes. So what is a class instance and how to create one? A class instance can be created using the keyword new. As you can see, I have created the class instance in test student class, and I'm saying student Joanna equals new student, right? I just said that. Student Joanna equals to new student. That's how I'm creating an instance. This is the instance. This is the instance or object of student class named as Joanna, right? That is how you create a instance of class. That's totally good. How to access class members? Perfectly fine. You can access a class member using a dot operator. Okay. So as you can see here, I'm saying Joanna dot name, Joanna dot watch class videos or complete assignments. I'm using a dot operator in order to access the class members. Okay. Let's move on. Questions coming in. Yeah, tell me. Class instance equals to, yeah, you can say that. Yes, it is. That's right, Nashwa. So here I'm talking about the exact same topic that I was explaining in a minute back about two different memory that we are highly we should be aware of. We should be highly aware of. One is a stack memory. Another one is a heap memory, as you can see. One is a stack memory, other one is a heap memory. Okay. Stack holds all the methods that are in execution, that are supposed to be executed. Okay. And heap stores the instance objects. Reference variable stores the address of the object residing in the heap memory. Okay. Every object is different from each other within heap. Unused object gets automatically destroyed by garbage collector to save memory. I was just explaining that. I didn't explain this piece, which is the stack memory. What is that? It's a LIFO. Okay, it is called as last in, first out strategy. So you can think about uh, memory. I'll just not use this. Okay, you can think about a block, a memory block. Okay, so it's called as last in, first out strategy. What does it mean? For example, if you look at the code that I was running, I have two different classes. One is test student, another one is student, right? As a part of the student class, I have added the attributes, that means the variables, and I have added the methods as a part of the student class, right? Methods, totally fine. And as a part of test student class, we have a main method. What is it? It's a main method from where my Java program is getting started. I have told you in the last class that when you start a Java program, JVM looks for, Java Virtual Machine looks for a main method. In the main method, then you are going to add different, other calls, other method calls. That's how the whole project works, right? You call the main method first, and from the main method, you call other methods. Okay. So main method is obviously the first method ever, correct? So what we will do, we will keep the main method at the very bottom of the page. Main method at the very bottom of the page, right? Then if you look at the project, the way it is right now created. So in here, what do I have? I have watch videos, watch class videos, Joanna dot watch class videos, Joanna dot complete assignments, and then we have Alex dot watch class videos and Alex dot complete assignments. Perfectly fine. Now what it will do is, as soon as it is getting executed from top to bottom in this main method, what it will do is it will first execute this particular guy, which is the watch class videos, and it will take it out from the stack memory. It says last in, first out. Last in, first out. So this came up over here. First is the main method. Main method will not go out of the stack memory just yet, because it is waiting for other methods to be called and finished. So main method is here, and then it is, for example, it is this guy, right? Which guy it is? The first guy that came up here is watch videos, right? it came up last. It came up last when I'm reading the code. It came up last, and then this will be taken out from here. Okay, and the second method will come in here, which is the complete assignments. It will be taken out again, right? So a stack memory kind of maintains a stack of all the methods that needs to be called one after another. Okay, and that's how stack memory ideally works. And then I also spoke about the heap memory. In heap memory, you are storing all the objects, each and every objects that you are creating in your program. Those objects are getting stored in that heap memory, and I told you about the garbage collector as well. So this is exactly what is happening in terms of heap memory and stack memory in Java. Okay, now you don't really have to do anything with it. I mean, you don't have to design this memory and all. It is already there. You just need to understand this concept a little bit so that you are aware of how things are working. Nothing more than that. Now let's move on to the next part. What are the methods and its usage? Very important thing. In programming, in every programming language, we have something called as do not repeat yourself. Uh, this is basically a strategy. Okay, and this is absolutely a crucial strategy. Why? Because, for example, think about it. You are adding two numbers. You're adding two numbers. You're saying, I'm just giving the example, adding two numbers, right? Do you want to keep on writing the code saying int a equals 20, int b equals 30, and int result equals a plus b? Do you want to keep on doing that? You don't want to do that. You don't want to keep on doing this. You don't want to keep on adding a plus b. Every time you need to add a plus b, you have to write these 3 lines of code. Do you want to do that? No, you don't do that. What you want to do is you want to create a simple method that will be responsible to add two numbers and give you back with a result. That is what you want to do, so that whenever you have a situation to add two numbers, you just call that method and the method will do that job for you, which means do not repeat yourself. You're creating a method that you know can be reused over and over again. For example, you're writing a code snippet that you know will not be reused in future, so you don't need to create a method for that, obviously. Okay, but if you can understand that the code that you're writing will be used in future, then you are going to wrap it up in a method and then you're gonna use it over and over again. Okay, that is exactly what I'm trying to say here in this particular slide. If you just go back to this, I'm saying method is a collection of statement that perform some specific task and may or may not return the result to the caller. Okay, for example, I have this particular structure here. In the main method, I have car, Volkswagen new car, Volkswagen.brand equals Volkswagen, Volkswagen.model equals golf. Now, Volkswagen.print brand name, Volkswagen.update seating capacity, and Volkswagen.get model name, right? And you can see when you are just calling this, you see in the car class, I've written these 3 methods: print brand name, get model name, and update seating capacity. And these 3 are nothing but they are all my simple methods. They are simple methods. Yeah, go on.
Sadiq, please,
Yeah,
I have a question.
yeah, go on.
Here, if I create two objects from the class, and I
Mhm.
want one object to do function, I call the method, and I want this method to do another function to one of the objects.
Okay, let me understand
Understand?
this. No, I didn't understand. Let me just try to understand this.
Okay, I
You're
am
you're
clear.
you're, try, you're trying to create. Let me just see. you're trying to create two objects, object
Two
number
objects.
one and object
Okay.
number two, and you want from same class. From
The students. Okay, and every student has a marks, have a name, and the method calculates maybe the age
mm-hmm,
or that. And I want in a specific object
mm-hmm.
this method to do another thing
Okay,
or
so you
add thing.
can no, that will be done through something called as overloading. So okay, I have not spoken about overloading yet, but I will quickly do that for you. Just give me a minute. So you can do something like this, right? Let me just take up your example. So I'll say new class, and I will say, okay, let me do something. Let me do it here itself in the student class. So you can see that I have one method over here, okay, I have one method over here called complete assignments, and I will create one more method, public void complete complete assignments, and say in the parameter, say string assignment name. Okay, so you see I'm able to keep the same name of two methods. The only difference is that this method is not accepting any parameter and this method is accepting a parameter. But I can keep the same method which will be doing two different jobs. So this guy saying completing all assignments, and this method is doing completing a specific assignment.
Okay, and
Completing
both methods will be printed.
no, when you call, so for example, Joanna is going for complete assignments. She will be
Okay.
calling complete assignments method, and Alex is going for complete assignments, but he is specifying which assignment it is. Then the second method will be called, I'll show you. So for example, you will do something like this, plus complete assignment, completing assignment, and assignment name is this guy. I don't need this piece at all. Okay, so what we will do is very simple. What we will do is we'll go back to students, test student, and in here let me remove this, and then you see Joanna is calling complete assignments method, and Alex is calling complete assignments with the assignment name, say week 2 class 5 or class 6 assignment, class 6. Okay, now if I go and run this, you see Joanna was able to complete all assignments. I should not use Joanna over here. Let me actually uncomment them. Run this. Okay, so you see Joanna was able to complete all assignments, and Alex was able to complete a specific assignment. Is that what you're trying to understand?
Yes, okay, thank you.
You can easily do that. This is whatever I just did. It's called as method overloading. You can keep the same method name, but they will act differently depending on what parameter you are supplying. This is called as method overloading. I'll talk about that in future in details, right? But I hope that helped with your query. Anyways, so let me move on to the situation where I'm talking about the methods. So methods is basically helping me to perform an operation that I know can be reused in future. For example, print brand name. I know that I want to use this print brand name method for each and every object of card that I want to create. I know I want to do that, right? So I have created this method which will print the brand name or get the method or get the model name or update the seating capacity. These are all your methods. Now you can see some methods will have parameters like this. You see, int seats. I'm supplying some information inside the method through parameter, and some methods will have no parameter. You can see it's an empty box or empty bracket. There is no parameter up here. Correct? That's a difference. That's a difference between a parameterized method and a non or a simple method. Correct? So we will talk about that in details again. Let me go down. Understanding the scope. What is the scope of a class? What do I mean by a scope of a class? Scope of a class is nothing but whatever is within the bracket, the flower bracket of the class. So this is my class, public class car, and here is a bracket and here is another bracket, right? These two brackets are open and closed brackets. So whatever is within these two brackets is basically called as the scope. Okay? Now every thing in Java is having its own scope. For example, look at the method update seating capacity. It has its own scope. Do you see that? It has its own scope. Again, this method up here is having its own scope. What do I mean by the scope? Scope means that it is having its own area or your own workspace or an own area, which means the variables that I am declaring up here, uh, um, the variables that I'm declaring up here in the car class, they are in global scope. That means what? That means every method or constructor, what is constructor? I will talk about that later on, but every component of or every class member of car class will be able to access these variables. You can see model, brand, they are defined in the top level, and I am able to use them within this particular method. Similarly, seating capacity, right? It's a variable I declared in the global scope, but I can use it here within the seating capacity. So there are two methods: update seating capacity, downgrade seating capacity by 1. Okay, so the idea is simple. The idea is that I want to access the variables that I have created on the top in the below methods. Correct? In the below methods, I can access them. However, if I create a local variable to the method itself, you see, it's a local variable because I'm declaring it here. Int seat equals 5. I'm declaring it over here. If it's a local variable only within this particular method, this guy, the seat guy, cannot be accessed by any other class member because it is defined in the local scope of the method. As simple as that. So there are two things. One is a global scope and one is a local scope. Local scope means it's a locally available only within that particular method. But but this variables are declared in the global scope, so this will be now accessible by any class member, right? That is what exactly I meant by understanding a scope. Am I clear with that? Yes, no? Am I clear with that? Okay. Okay, good. Let's go on. So that's the end of this particular slide deck. Okay, I'm expecting that you guys have understood this very well. Let me quickly go to the assignments that I have given up here. What is an assignment? Assignments are create a rectangle. Actually, you know what? I will open the assignment solution right now so that you are absolutely okay with that. So open projects from file system, directory, desktop, weekly 2, select folder, finish, week 2 solutions, right? What happened? File, open project, directory, weekly 2 solutions up here. Yeah, finish. Okay, correct. Let's try to see what exactly we have on in these assignments. Can you please show the assignment number 3? Yeah, sure. So weekly 2, assignment number video 1, rectangle, video 4, video 5. I think this one. So what am I doing? I'm creating a simple class. I'm creating 2 different variables inside that, double length, double breadth. Okay. And I'm creating a test class called test rectangle. And what am I doing? I'm just trying to create different objects for each and every one of these classes, right? So rectangle class, there's a geometry box, and then it has a length of 18, breadth of 7.5, then a floor mat, length of 120 and breadth of 90, and then Xiaomi Mi 10 phone, which is length 74.8, breadth 162.6. Correct? So this is how you can create a simple object of rectangle and then add different and you can create multiple objects of rectangle and you can give different values to it. Okay. Then what is the next question? Let me try to see the next question. Video 2, week 2, assignment number 3. Assignment number 3. Okay. What does it say? Create a class and create a method within within the method, create an empty array of size 5, generate 5 random number and assign them to the array and return the array of numbers for method. Okay, I have already explained about arrays. Right? So there are 2 ways I have done this. Yeah, there are 2 ways I have done this. One is that in the main method, I'm creating an array of 5. In each and every array, I am specifying some default value, 10, 20, 70, 40, 50, some random values I'm adding manually, and I'm just simply looping them around. So if I just go ahead and run this, run as Java application, if I do it, so you see it just ran all of these guys. So whatever the values I have added to the array, I'm just printing them out because I'm looping through the arrays using a for loop. I'm saying traversing array, and then I'm just looping through it, and then I'm printing all of these values. It's a very simple solution. However, there is one more solution that I've given. With the help of a method that I've created called as get random integer. I've created a method called as get random integer. In this get random integer, I am specifying the integer that I want to get out of it. It should be between a minimum and a maximum range, a maximum and a minimum range, right? A maximum and a minimum range. So whatever the range it is, it will tell you that it will tell you it will create a random value out of it. Okay, so just see how did I do it. There's a class called as math. It is coming from Java. If I hover on top of it, see it's coming from java.lang.math. This package, this particular class is coming from java.lang package. So math.random. Random is also a method within the math class. So this guy is now helping me to create a random value. So we need to do the calculation in the main method. I'm not doing any calculation in the main method, right? I mean, in the main method itself, I mean, I don't need a separate class for it. If you're asking that, Fatima, I don't need a separate class for it. I'm just doing it everything. I mean, this solution is done completely in the main method itself. If you want to put it in a separate class, you can do that. You can create a separate class called as generate random values or something like that. You can do it, but I didn't do it. I just simply created everything within the main method itself.
Okay, so I did what I created everything this in a class.
Mhm.
In a class, I created a method, and in that method, I have done all these things. So is
That
that
is
right?
absolutely fine. Yeah, no problem at all. Anyway, you can do
Okay,
it.
okay.
Anyway, you can do it. You need a
Oh,
main method anyways to call the class so that you can run the class.
yeah, so I have called the class in the main method. So
Yeah,
that's right.
absolutely.
Okay, okay. So I
Absolutely,
just had
absolutely.
a confusion regarding that.
So now you see I have created a get random integer. I'm giving a math.random into multiplied by, this is multiplied by maximum minus minimum plus minimum. This is a very simple code that is available online. You can just go and Google it saying generate random numbers in Java, and you can easily get this code everywhere. Okay, it's a simple formula that you have to um, get online, as simple as that. And then once you are getting this random method created, what you do is you say a of 0. I'm saying get random integer 10 1. That is the maximum number. This is one. This is the minimum number, and that's how I gave it for all of them. And then if I just run this now, you get the value like this. You see, if I run it one more time, it will be a different result, because you see it's a different result. So randomly it can pick up the values between 1 and 10, and I'm supplying it here. I'm running it, and that's how it is done. Okay. What else we have? Video 2, week 5, assignment 4. What I have an employee method. I have an employee class. In the employee class, I have these guys. So this is, you see, by the way, wait a minute. This is talking about constructor. Video week 2, video 5, assignment 4. I didn't talk about constructor yet, right? Could employee not using, yeah, I have done this wrong. I have said that use getters and setters, but when I created the solution, I gave it, I completed it through the constructor. So yes, we can fix that. What we can do is you can just simply remove them, and I can simply say int, you don't need that. You can simply say get set qualification. I'll remove all of them actually, and then I will just select them, and I will say source generate getters and setters, all of them, name and qualification, generate, and I got them right here. Correct? I got all my methods right here to set and get names, to set and get qualification and salary, right? And then when you call the method, like in test employee, when you're calling the method, you don't do it like this, not through the constructor. This is through a constructor. This is wrong. So I'll just remove them. You can simply use emp1 dot set name, and then you give the name, and then I'll just remove them for now. So set name, set qualification, and set salary. Set name, set qualification, and set salary. Right? This is my name. I'll give the name as, for example, Fatima. I give the qualification as BTech. I give the salary as something. Okay. And then I just go and I print them as it is. Whatever I just showed you today, it is exactly what I'm showing you here. And you get the results up here. Why I didn't print? Fatima, get a name, get qualification, get salary. Oh yeah, it all printed together, right? It all printed together. Fatima BTech salary, everything got printed together, and that's how you need to do it. Okay, so that is that. Then what else we have? We have the assignment 5. Defining your own word, Selenium Ide, blah blah blah. I'll talk about them right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and quickly start with the next piece, which is our class 6. Guys, whatever I just explained to you so far today, do you have any questions, or is it crystal clear? These are fundamentals and you need to know them, in the back of your hand, every one of them. Is it clear to everyone? Yes, no?
Just a quick question, sorry.
Go on.
Yeah, for that class 5 assignment for the output for me in the employee details, that one. For example, if I'm giving Fatima BTech 100,000, so
Yeah.
it's coming for you. It's coming like a horizontal output. For me,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Fatima.
Yeah, it is not a problem because there are two methods. One is called print and one is called print ln. Print ln means print in the next line, and print means you're printing next to each other. You see?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's the difference. And then I'm giving a gap here, right? Which is why you see a gap.
Okay.
And that's why they're coming in the horizontal, right?
Oh, all right. Okay, good. Thanks.
Good. Who else? Any other questions? No? Just a second. All good. Fatima, all good. Sindhu, all good. All right. Emmanuel, are you getting all of these stuff, or how is it? Are you getting everything that I'm teaching today, or it is not making sense to you? Yeah, you have a mute button there, unmute button there. You can unmute it from there. Yeah, go on.
It's fine.
Okay, all right.
Yes, I'm really catching up here, side.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'm really catching up here. It's fine. It's all good.
Okay,
I can
okay.
yes.
All right. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So I will take a quick 5 minutes break, guys, and then we will start with Selenium Webdriver and what exactly is Selenium Webdriver, how to install it. We will know it everything one by one. Just give me a quick second. Selenium Webdriver. This is class 5. This is going to be class 6. Right. So we will start talking about Selenium, what is Selenium and stuff, right? So I'm gonna just quickly put you guys, I'll just pause the recording. I'll come back in 5 minutes. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. So what is ideally Selenium? Selenium is basically a web browser automation tool. Um, yeah, constructor, I will come to it, Nashwa. It is in the future classes. Please be patient, yeah? Good. So Selenium is basically a web browser automation tool. It's an open source tool, right? Which means you don't need to pay any license for it. This tool was initially built by a company called as ThoughtWorks. There was an engineer called as Jason who built it in 2004. This came to us in the market as a Firefox browser add-on. We named it as Selenium IDE, correct? And this add-on is still there. It kind of works on a record and a play basis. You record some steps and you play those steps. You record and play test steps. But it is not something that can give you an experience of enterprise level automation. You can create some basic test cases just for the understanding of how automation works. But Selenium IDE is not something that that can be used to create a maintainable test automation framework. No, you cannot do it with that. So then the next flavor of Selenium is Selenium Webdriver, the one that we are learning here, which will help us to interact with each and every component in the web page. So in the web page that we can take up any web page for that matter. That web page can be created using any language, right? So in modern times, a website is built using different type of languages. For example, they are built on either JavaScript. They're built on JavaScript. They're built on PHP. They are built on C#. Where is my C#? They are built on even Java. Okay, you can automate. Understand this very well, because a lot of people ask me the question that if the website is built on PHP, do I have to write the test cases in PHP? No, it's not. You can write the test case in your own preferred language. Your application code is different from the test code that you're writing. Yeah, no problem. So your application code is different from the test code that you're writing. Your application can be built on anything. It can be built on JavaScript, PHP, Python, okay? Python, anything at all, right? But at the end of the day, whatever the language you are using to implement the website, at the end of the day, whatever you are going to see in front of your screen, which means, for example, you're going to see input box to enter your username, input box to enter your password, a button to click on, okay? A button to click on, some kind of a drop-down button, some kind of a drop-down menu, right? A drop-down menu kind of looks like this, if you remember, if you understand what I mean, right? A drop-down menu where when you click on it, it pops out with a list, right? So everything that you see here in front of your screen and you interact with, they are all HTML components. HTML components. Okay? They're all HTML components. And Selenium helps you to interact with these components. Selenium is going to help you to interact with this component. Selenium is nothing but basically a simple .jar file. What is .jar file? It is Java archive file. What is Java archive? I have mentioned it in the previous class, I believe. Java archive file. Java archive file means multiple different Java classes together packed into one jar file. You can say thousands of class files packaged or zipped into .jar file, right? So you are going to get this jar file, which is a Selenium jar file, and you're going to add this jar file into your project. As soon as you do that, you are now enabled to interact with any HTML component. Okay? Understand that your application code and your test code are different. You can write your test code in the same language as the application is written, or in a complete different language, right? So for us in this course, we are targeting Java. We are going to use Java to write our test cases. As simple as that, right? Good stuff. So we'll write test cases, we will create framework, we will create multiple different frameworks altogether. I have explained this to you in the first kickoff session that we are going to work with 12 modules in the 16-week class. 12 modules. We're going to cover up at least 5 different type of framework: TestNG, Cucumber, with Appium, that is for mobile automation, Rest Assured for your backend web services, and finally we will cover one solid enterprise level framework which will run on TestNG, but it will run on Selenium Grid. You will see that at the very end of our course. Okay. And then I've spoken about Selenium Webdriver, and then finally we have another one, which is our Selenium Grid. What is Selenium Grid? Selenium Grid will help us to run hundreds and thousands of scenarios in parallel mode. Why do I want to run them in parallel mode? The reason is I want to get the output of my test cases, or I want to get the report out of my test cases as soon as possible, so that I can report back to my dev team that they are okay to go ahead and deploy their changes. They're okay to go on and deploy their changes. Correct? That is basically your Selenium Grid helps us with. It can create a parallel execution environment, and we will learn that in the advanced course. Okay. This is basically Selenium ideally, and I will now tell you how to install it. Grid helps you to run your scenarios in parallel mode, right? Suppose you have written 100,000, or maybe in your project you have 1,000 scenarios, 1,000 scenarios or test cases, automated test cases, right? If you want to run them in sequential manner, it will run one after another. It can take around 2 hours to run all the 1,000 scenarios. What if you can run all the scenarios parallelly? You can configure that you want to run all these 1,000 scenarios in 5 different machines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 5 different machines, each one of them will run 200. Each one of them will run. Where are you? Each one of them will run 200 scenarios. So ideally, you are going to cover up all the 1,000 scenarios in 1/5 of the time. Correct? So that is what it is, right? You want to create an automation framework for what? You want to quickly test the application as soon as possible, which is never, ever, ever going to be comparable to manual testing. I'm not saying manual testing is not required. It is absolutely required, but at to a certain level, it is required. When you are going into automation testing, you are trying to figure out that whatever changes that were made by the developers to fix a bug or to fix, no, it's not a plugin. It is the same jar file. The configuration of the jar file is different. Selenium Grid is the same jar file, Jar file configuration is a little different. The way you instantiate Selenium Grid is different than the normal Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so the point is that with automation testing, you can take out all the burden of regression testing, which means if you are releasing a new feature, in the application, you want to test that all the related modules of that particular feature is not broken. If you want to do it manually, if you want to test all of them manually, you're going to spend days to figure that out. You don't have time, like 1 day time or 2 days time, to figure that out in this current times. In this current times, everything is agile. You have to quickly build and you have to quickly deploy, test and deploy. It's called CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery or deployment, right? So that can be supported with automation, as simple as that, right? So this is what we are going to learn in the later phase, where we will be learning how to run our scenarios in Selenium Grid in the advanced level. Anyways, so let me clear off my drawing and let me go back to my okay. Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid, I just explained perfectly fine. How does Selenium works? Okay, so the jar file, yeah, okay, please go on. You have a question? Please go on. Can
Yeah,
you
hi,
come on?
Shavik. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on.
Just before that, you were going on to the upper slide. So I just have a question. Right now we are learning, building automation framework using Java language. But I don't know, but I have heard and I have seen, various opening mostly in people want some skill set in Python as well. Or
there are if you do a so the thing is that if you do a research on how many jobs are there in the market, you will see most of them are for Java. There are requirements for Python as well, but there are very few requirements for Python.
Okay.
And moreover, Akub, the main point is, if you are good with one object-oriented language, to switch to another object-oriented language will be a piece of cake. But you need to at least understand that what exactly is a framework, how it is working, what are the components of a framework, and all the advanced concepts. And once you are aware of all of these together, it is very easy to switch to a different code, because different language, because all you have to do is you have to just learn the new language and try to mimic whatever you have learned with Java, but at least try to learn something. I mean, a fundamental language like Java that will make your base very, very strong, very, very strong. And moreover, the job market. Okay, let me just try to do something. You're right now here, right? I'll go for Indeed.com. Let's see how many you're talking about. Indeed.com, and I'm looking for Dublin because I'm in Dublin. Or let's look at Ireland. Okay, and let's look at Selenium or test engineers, right? Let's find a job. What are they looking for? We offer our culture, blah blah blah. About you. Is it the same automation that I'm looking for? Develop code, design, develop code. Yeah, that is right. But you see, they have not really mentioned anything in terms of the actual Java coding language that they're looking for. Yeah, they're not talking about anything. Okay, So I think any programming language will set, work. If they have a specific requirement, they would have mentioned it here, right? But they are not doing it. Let's go to the other one. Senior test automation engineer. This is a consultancy, I believe. Okay. Develop Java-based test components. Okay. Let's go for another one. QA engineer, softcore. Let's see, what do they look for? Your profile, what am I offering? QA, I think this is not automation. It is experience on manual testing. They're not talking about automation yet. Okay. Let's go to AMI 19. This is 19 days ago. They are all old jobs, 30 plus days. Okay. Automation engineer, Zotis. Zotis, this company just is next to my house, actually. What are they looking for? Is it a test automation? I think it's not. It's not a test automation. It's something else. I think it is something to do with robot process automation, maybe. Automation control. This is not the one. Go to LinkedIn. I mean, I have seen, and that's the reason most of the students I have seen are requesting for a Java based. So let's go to jobs and say Ireland, say senior QA automation engineer Kelly. Let's look at it. No, this is minimum qualification electronics. No. Some of them they are not even mentioning, right? Quality and I think this is something else. 1 minute. I think I'm not searching with the right keyword. Let me try with test automation. Yeah, senior QA automation, right? Senior QA automation. This guy is looking for strong experience with Java automation. Okay. DevOps support engineer, AWS. Let's see what they're looking for. They're not looking for automation as such. They're looking for, yeah. So here they're looking for DevOps. It is not automation. They're looking for Perl and Python scripting or shell scripting. It has nothing to do with automation. It is a DevOps scenario, okay, where you will be allowed, you will be requested to deploy systems in the whole environment. It has nothing to do with automation testing. Software tester, QA roles, ISTQB. This is not automation testing. Senior automation. This is robotics. I don't think this is test automation. Anyways, if you just see right now, things are a little bit low. The whole structure is a little low because it's a year end and the COVID situations are there. But I have seen that most of them are Java based. This is a SDET role somewhere in Dublin, remote, CI/CD, Selenium. Having knowledge on Python is a plus. Hands-on experience in writing, yeah, there are a few places where Python is, plus, but it is not a mandate. You can start your, so for example, in my previous company, right, I was working as a JavaScript automation engineer, and I didn't work on JavaScript until my previous company. So once you have the knowledge in Java or any programming language, in one programming language, it is very easy to copy and go to any other programming language. So don't worry about that. Okay, let's actually go back to our code. How does Selenium work? Let's try to understand that. All right. So Selenium, when we write the code for Selenium, for example, when we create an instance of Selenium WebDriver, the way we do it is something like this: WebDriver driver equals new Chrome driver. Okay, Chrome driver. This is the line that we write ideally. Okay, when we write this line, WebDriver driver equals new Chrome driver, what it does is it creates an instance of Chrome browser. It opens up an instance of Chrome browser because we're trying to launch the Chrome. It opens up an instance of a Chrome browser. Totally fine. At the same time, it is also going to start another server, a server, you can say a WebDriver server, a WebDriver REST server. What exactly this REST server is doing? This is the guy. WebDriver REST server. What exactly it is doing? What exactly it is trying to do here is that it is kind of working between the browser that got opened when I ran this particular command and the test code that you will write in any language, Java, Python, Perl, anywhere, any language. You are going to open up a REST endpoint or a REST server in between. Now, what happens here is you say this server that is opening right now, it is basically working as a listener. A listener. What is a listener? It is trying to listen and understand what kind of event is being fired. For example, when you're creating an object of WebDriver driver equals new Chrome driver, you're going to write something like this: driver dot find element. Okay, you're going to give xpath. Xpath means the location of that element, and then you're going to say, dot click. So ideally what you're trying to do, you're trying to find a web element. You're trying to find a web element in the page, and you're trying to click on that element. You're trying to click on that element. Click is an event. When you're firing a click event, what is happening? You are sending some information to the REST server. You're sending some information to the REST server. The information that you're sending to the REST server, you're sending it in a JSON format. So when you're performing a click on a particular element, you're sending some information that you need to perform a click. You're sending some information talking about the location, talking about the actual click event, and many other stuff that is something that we don't want to really care. But ideally, this line over here is sending a relevant information to the REST server, which is waiting and listening for any such event. And this information that is transferred from the test that is written in pure and simple Java, and then that information that is being transferred from the test to the WebDriver is done through JSON wire protocol. Why do I say JSON wire protocol? Because the information that is being transmitted from the test to the WebDriver is in JSON format. How do you see that JSON format? If you go to Google and you just search for JSON and just say images, right? And just look at how a JSON looks like. A JSON looks like this, a key value pair format. You can see a JSON, any JSON structure ideally looks like this. This is a key and that's a value. Okay, similarly, you can see date is a key and this is a value. Okay, JSON format is one of the most renowned format that is being used in terms of like transmitting or transferring data from one end to other end, because it's very well organized and it supports everything. Okay, so for example, you can see that this whole guy, this whole information right now that I'm specifying, this whole information is one order information. You see, it is one order information. This let me actually do one thing. Actually, I'll just go and let's say clear my drawings for now. You can see this guy up here is one order information. Okay, if there are multiple different orders, so you can see this is a square bracket, right? Square bracket means an array. So ideally you can keep multiple order information in this order number 1 comma, and then you give another order number over here, right, with all these informations. Correct. This is how JSON is created. I will talk about JSON in much more details in the advanced lessons. But for now, you can see that JSON is one of the most renowned way to transmit data. And within the JSON array as well, you have a key value pair of information that you see: order number, date, tracking number, and customer ID. And then you have another customer object. So basically, what does it mean? You can create a nested, complex, nested customer information with the help of JSON. This is a random JSON file, JSON image I'm showing. You can go and you can check up anything, right? You can even click on this guy, and you can see that it has a similar kind of stuff as well. Okay, different architecture, obviously, but kind of the same key value pair format, right? So what exactly I'm trying to say here is that if I go back to my, okay, and I will just quickly do undo, right? So yeah, I was talking about the WebDriver. So JSON wire protocol, you're transmitting some data from the test to the WebDriver REST API server. That is the information, this is the event information, and that information is sent through JSON wire protocol. Once it is reaching to this server, then it is going to forward that to the browser where the actual interaction is happening. A click on an element is happening. Once the whole structure is done, that is the whole request is done, request to click is done, the browser will tell whether that or not, and then it will respond you back with a response saying that that particular task was done or not. If the task is done, it will be happy to go to the next step and perform the similar operation. So it's all about request and response, each and every step that you are performing in your test case. You're doing it in Java, Python, Perl, anywhere it is always going to work in the similar level, because you have a REST API server in between that is acting as a listener, and which will listen to any event that is coming at it. The event is coming at it using JSON wire protocol, and then it will be forwarding to the browser level. Okay, this is the Selenium architecture. If someone asks you the question in the interview that how do Selenium really works, and if you can explain this the way I explained it, then that's like a full marks, right? So let me go to the next part. Just stop me if you have any questions. Let's understand a jar. I have just told you a few minutes back. What is jar? Jar is nothing but a packaged version or a zipped version of multiple different class files. Okay, and then you add that class files together into a jar, and that jar can be then transferred from one system to the other system. So let's try to go ahead and quickly configure the Selenium. It's very simple to do it. You can go to this location, which is selenium.dev, which is their official site. So selenium.dev. Once you reach up here, selenium.dev, okay? Once you reach up here, you click on the downloads. and then just please don't bother about watching other YouTube videos or whatever it is. Just follow my lead and you will be all good. Just download one single jar file. There are ways to download multiple jar files, and that really creates a lot of confusion. Don't do that. There is only one jar file that you have to download, which is this one, 3.141.59. That's a version of this particular Selenium jar file. Basically, it is a Selenium server come grid. So this one jar file is consisting of normal Selenium WebDriver as well as for grid. So just set it up so that we will be using it in the advanced class, right? So just set this up, just download this guy like this. I'll just delete it because I already have it in my place. So once you have this in place, you keep it in your some secure location in your C drive, D drive, whatever drive you are using. And then what you do is you go to your project, you create a new project. The one that we have right now is this guy. And for example, in this project, I want to add that jar file. Okay, it's very simple. Right click on the project, go to the properties, and then you see Java build path. Click on this, and then go to the libraries. Inside the libraries, there's a class path. Click on the class path. Once you go to the class path, you say add external jars. Okay, and then you click on the Selenium Server Standalone and say open, and that's it. It is added to the project. Selenium Server Standalone is added to the project. Apply and close, and that's done. That's done, right? So it is added to the project. Totally fine. I'll clear all my other systems. So once that is added, now if you just go to the section which is called referenced libraries, if you open this up, you can see Selenium standalone jar file is added to the project. And now if you actually expand it, you can see there are hundreds and thousands of packages. Okay, all these packages, and each and every package is having like hundreds of class files. You can see that dot class file. So that's what I was saying. So each and every jar file is basically a combination of hundreds of class files together packed in one single jar file, and that is what we used to work with. Correct? That is your Selenium server standalone configuration, and that's all you have to do in order to get this on board to your project. Right. So once that is done, what do? We have to write some basic code. How to write some basic code? Let's see. Let me go to the next part. That is free sessions, class 7. In here we have class 7. Okay. Understanding HTML and its basic structure. By the way, with the help of the Selenium WebDriver, I will not do much, but I will try to write a very simple test right now. So I'll just go and I'll say create a new class file and say test Selenium. And I'm going to have a main method in this class, Selenium. Okay. Main method in this class. In this main method, what I will do is I will quickly create an object of Chrome driver. Okay. Let's see how to do it. It's a Chrome driver equals a new Chrome driver. Now understand, this Chrome driver class is not present in this project, this Java week 2 summary project. Chrome driver class is not present, right? Like student class is present, test Selenium class is present, test students class is present, but Chrome driver class is not present. But still, I'm creating an object of Chrome driver equals new Chrome driver. I'm still doing that. I'm able to do that because I have added a jar file a few minutes back into this project. So this Chrome driver is actually within that jar file. Okay, so if I just go ahead and import it, you see, if you hover on top of it, it will show you the import statement. You can click on that, and it imported it, and it says something. It says import org openqa selenium chrome driver. Now you see, if I expand the reference libraries, the package. What am I looking at? I'm looking at org OpenQA Selenium, right? So let's go for org. You see, org OpenQA Selenium here. org OpenQA Selenium. That's the package, right? org OpenQA Selenium. That's the package. Inside the package, I have Chrome. Okay, my bad. It should be another package, right? Selenium Chrome, this one. And inside this Chrome package, I have the class called Chrome Driver class. Because this class is there, that's the reason I'm able to create an object of Chrome Driver, even though the Chrome Driver class is not present in my project, right? That's how reference libraries work. You reference it, and then you can use whatever is there within that library. That is why it is called as a library in terms of project, in terms of programming, right? Any language you go, it's a similar way that you can add any external libraries to the current project that you are working on. Any language you can go, it will be the same structure. So then you created a Chrome driver, right? Now what I'll do is I will just run this code, run as Java application. If I do it, immediately it is throwing me with some error. What is the error? It is saying that the path to the driver executable must be set by webdriver.chromedriver system property. Webdriver.chromedriver system property. So it's saying you are trying to initialize a Chrome driver, that's fine, but you're not trying to tell me the location where Chrome driver is located. This is a Chrome driver class, that's okay, but you also need to be taking a help of a exe file, a Chrome driver exe file. I mean, every browser that we are going to work with, they will have their own exe files. Okay, those exe files are needed in order to start the Chrome browser engine. You need the exe file to start the Chrome browser engine or any browser engine. Okay, but you have to set that information using this property called as webdriver.chromedriver. How do you do that? Simple. Use a system.set property, and then in the key you're going to mention this guy, webdriver.chrome.driver, the one that is specified, and then here you're going to say where the location is. So my location of the driver, the Chrome driver, is in my C drive. So if I just go to my C drive, this PC C drive drivers, I have Chrome driver. So if I just copy this location like so and / Chrome driver .exe. Okay, this is my location of my Chrome driver. How do you download this driver? It is in the same location where you have your browser. So if you just go to the selenium.dev page, you go down and you have a section called as browsers. Open that up, and there you see every other browser that is supported by Selenium Webdriver. So the one that I'm talking about here is Chrome. So open this up, the documentation link. If you open this up, you see the latest two versions. One is 87 and one is 86. Check your Chrome browser information, what exactly it is, whether it is 85 or 86. For me, it is going to be 86, I suppose. So help about Chrome, it's 87. The one is for me is 87. So I'll just close this up, and then I will go back to my. Yeah, Sindhu, no problem. Please watch the video. Thank you. So you have the you have to download the Chrome driver exe. So you just go back to your location. This is the location. Here you go and you say you're trying to download the Chrome driver for 87. So you just click on it and it will go to this link, and you just say Windows 32 or Mac or Linux, whatever the platform you're working on. You can download that zip file, unzip that file, and you just keep it in your in a location like I did for Selenium. I did it in the C drive drivers. I'm keeping my Chrome driver. You can keep it in your system anywhere, and then give that path. Okay, when you're giving a path, always make sure that the path is given with a double slash, because in Java, when you are working with a single slash, it is going to throw you with an error right there, because in Java, whenever you are using a slash, it needs to be escaped. So invalid escape sequence. So if you're using B, if you're using T, if you're using N, if you're using F, what is T for? What is N for? The N is used for, do you know what is this N for used for? N is used for the new line. When you're writing a string in Java, N is used for new line. Slash N means you're saying that you want to go to the new line, right? So you must be escaping the slash that you are adding in front of N. Suppose you want to do something like this. Let me quickly get it done for you. So for example, you do something like this, sys out. You say, hi there, right? Hi there, right? In this hi there, I want to say N, and I want to say slash N. Okay? I want to say slash N, and I will give this here. And let's try to run this, and let's see what exactly happens with that. Run as Java application. You see, I'm getting it as hi there slash N, right? So N is escaped by a slash. Okay, for example, if I don't give a slash, what happens? Run this. Hi N there. So slash N is working as a new line. Okay, let's give slash N and slash double slash N. Let's see what happens. It is not even working with that. So it is just saying slash N over here, because now this slash is escaped by the front slash. So ideally, the slash N, which was used for new line, is not even working, because this first slash is now escaped by the first slash. The second slash is escaped by the first slash, and it just removed the characteristics of slash N. So which is why it is just printing in one line. If you just don't do that, if you just remove it like this, then you are saying slash N just like that. And if you just say slash T, which is what? It's a tab. Do you see that? It's a tab, right? So that is what exactly it is saying. It is saying that when you are trying to go for a path, when you're giving a path, right? Always escape the slash. The slash should be escaped by another slash, so that the actual string should become like this. The actual string should become like this, with single slashes. Make sense? I hope that makes sense to you, right? Now I have just added this Chrome driver here. Now I will run this. As soon as I run this, I see Chrome driver launches. Just like that, a blank Chrome driver is launching in front of me. Okay. I will also make sure to close this Chrome driver. I will use driver.quit method so that I can close the Chrome driver. I will just wait for 1 second. Thread.sleep is a method I will be using to wait for 1 second or 2 seconds. 2000 millisecond means 2 seconds. And don't bother about what I'm doing right now. Throws exception. I'll talk about exceptions later. But right now, you just say thread.sleep and just say run. You see, it will run for 2 seconds. It will wait for 2 seconds, and then it will close the browser. That's it, right? So you just opened up and you close the browser with the normal Chrome driver. That's all I wanted to say there, okay? Next part that I wanted to talk about is about few stuff. That is understanding HTML and its basic structure. What is an HTML? What is a HTML and what is the basic structure of it? So HTML is a standard document, a structured document. As by structured, it means that it is basically, it is having its own layout of parent and child. So you can see that a HTML document follows. Let me try and. The HTML document follows a particular structure. For example, it starts with a root, that is HTML, and then you have a body. Inside the body, you're keeping paragraph and then an anchor. So it's kind of following a particular structure. It's not coming up randomly, right? So it's a structured document, something that can lay out your components in the page in a proper order. Okay, that is basically an HTML. That is basically a HTML all about, right? We will talk more about HTML in a minute. So let me clear my drawing. Let's go down. So HTML tree, you can see that the HTML tree is looking like this. The root element is HTML. Before that, we have window. Window means whatever is present in front of my eyes right now. The whole screen is a window in terms of Windows or in terms of any operating system. Windows is the screen that you're seeing ideally. Inside that, we are talking about a document. The document is the HTML document, and the root of HTML is basically the HTML. And then there are two sections to it. One is a head and one is a body. In the head, we have few things. We have a title. We have ideally title. You have CSS. You can add CSS over here, CSS locations, and you can add JavaScript locations over here. And in the body, you can actually put in the things that you want your users to see. For example, image, for example, H1 tag, a paragraph, a division, or a link, or whatever. Whatever you want them to view is something that you want to put into the body. So ideally, this structure that I'm talking about right now is called DOM, document object model, right? Document object model. This is a model that you're following up. This is a model that you're following up to, just a sec. Okay. This is a model that you're following up. I mean, any developer, any front-end developer follows in order to create the HTML page that we see in front of our eyes. That is what is called as document object model. That means a HTML root, a head, and a body. In the body, you keep the things that you want to show. In head, you're going to keep the things that are going to have some meta information about your web page, which means you're talking about CSS selector, you're talking about CSS locations, you're talking about JavaScript locations, you're talking about title and everything. For example, if you hover on top of this particular page right now, you see, it says about class 7 Google Drive. That's the title of the page. If you hover on top of the on the tab, it gives you the title of the page. Those information goes in the head section of the page. Okay, that's the HTML tree, plain and simple. Let's go down. Understanding browser dev tools. Our whole automation career is, constantly attached to browser browser dev tool. Every browser will have its own dev tool. Every browser will have its own dev tool. For example, if I go down to my browser, this is my Edge, right? If I hit FN, this guy up here, which is my just a second. Okay. So this section that you see on the right hand side is a console, or it's a dev console, we can say. So in the dev console, there are different tabs that we need to know. Right now, most of the times we will be working with elements tab, Okay, but there are other tabs as well. We will learn about them later on. Okay, so this is basically I'm trying to talk about. It's called the browser dev console. Dev console are a tool set which is available in Chrome, Firefox, Edge, anywhere. You can open that up with F12 key, and it can help you to inspect an element. What do I mean by that? For example, if I go to this particular page, which is, for example, our amazon.co.uk, correct? In this page, I want to interact with this particular element, this input box. I want to enter some text into it, right? So I inspect this element, and with this key, this tool, this guy gets highlighted, and then it shows up the input information, the actual HTML information about the input box. We will need to read this information that is being displayed, and we have to use this in our test case so that we can interact with this element. For example, I want to interact with this element right now. What would I do is I would go and I will just copy this piece, and I'll go back to my Eclipse, and I'll say I want to open up the application with the command driver.get, and I'm just going to pass my URL, the URL of the browser. Once I'm done with that, I'm removing this thread.sleep, not needed anymore. I'm going to send some text in that particular box, right? So how do I do that? I can say, so you see this guy over here is basically the information about the input box. So I have an attribute to this input tag called as ID. What is an attribute? What is a tag? I will tell you. But for now, let me just show it to you. So ID is 2-tab search text box. So I'll just copy this. I'll just come in here. I'll say driver dot find element by ID, and the ID is this. Okay, and I say dot send keys, and I want to enter some product. So I say Christmas gifts, and then I want to say also comma, I will say keys dot enter. I just did this, right? What I did is I'm sending the keys, I'm sending the text called Christmas gifts, and then I'm saying keys dot enter. What does it mean? It means I am trying to hit enter in my keyboard, as if it will keys dot enter will mimic the keyboard input. Now if I just run this piece, I will remove my, I will comment out my driver.quit, and I will just run this piece again. Christmas gifts, and it did enter as well, and you see that Christmas gifts are lined up for you. Correct? That is how a normal test case ideally works. But the point is, we have to learn a lot in terms of ideally understanding this whole HTML layout, like how to ideally get to this particular element, how to, what exactly are the tags, what are attributes. You have to understand all of it. So let's try to go to the next piece. Understanding DevTools, different tabs in DevTools. Okay, we have different tabs in DevTools: elements, console, network, performance. I've given a very good understanding about all of those tabs in the video. Please go through it. If you don't understand, let me know. I will come back to you on that. Understanding HTML tags, it's very important. There are different type of HTML tags that we have in the page with which we want to interact. For example, this guy that we have just right now used, it's an input tag. It's an input tag that, I mean, you have to understand that each and every element that we are going to interact with, there is an HTML component for each and every tag, each and every element. So for example, this guy is an input tag. Okay, this input tag is there to search for a product, right? This input tag that I'm right now specifying to you, sorry, the one that I'm right now showing it to you, you see that this input tag is having a tag. Okay, that's a tag which is basically saying that it is an input. And then there are attributes like type equals text, which means if you have a input tag with an attribute called as type equals text, which means it is pointing or it is trying to create a text box. If you have an input which is of type submit, then it is a button. Okay, there's a difference between the attribute depending on the combination of the attribute and the tag. You see the element the way you see it. So for example, I can just create a HTML page just like that in front of you. Just give me a second. Let me clear my drawings. And if I go to my location, that's a new text document, a normal text document. A text document, I will just go and I'll say HTML. I'll open and close HTML with a slash HTML. Okay. Format, font. Okay, HTML. And then I'm going to follow my document object model, which means I will have a head. I will have a head closed slash head. And then I'll say title. Title is what? Title is anything. Welcome to Wisdom QA. Right? That's the title. And then you have the other thing, which is your body. So in the body, I do stuff like I'm looking for input box. Let me write few things. I'm looking for a span. Span is basically used in order to create or in order to store some small text. So I say username, span. I'm going to add another tag over here called as a BR. BR means break. And then I just copy this whole piece and say password. And here I will say I'm looking for an input tag. Input tag. This input tag is having an attribute called as type, and the type is equals text. And I'm going to close my input box here with a slash, and then I will say BR again, because in the next line, or maybe I'll give 2 BRs so that you have some good gap. Okay, and then just copy the same piece and say like this. I will add another attribute over here. It's called placeholder. Let me just see. Placeholder. Placeholder equals to username, and similarly placeholder here. Placeholder equals to password, right? So both of them are type, input type text. Then I need to add another input type, which is going to be of type submit. Okay, depending on what exactly you want to really work, That's how things will be different. So you say submit MIT. Don't need a placeholder because that will not work out. A submit element cannot have a placeholder. And then I can add a BR, and I can add another guy, which is type, sorry. Then I have another guy that is type radio, and type checkbox. Okay. Let's try to, I've just created a simple structure like this, and I will just try to save this, save as testme.html and HTML, testme.html, all files in the desktop, save. So I just saved it as an HTML file. You see, testme. Let me open this up, and that's how it is. You see that? I created a HTML page just like that. You see, username, password, everything is in the placeholder, is giving me the information. Okay, password because, okay, one more thing. Quickly change things, right? This guy over here, let me open it up, open with Notepad, choose other app, Notepad. And in here, instead of saying text for the password, I will say it as password, right? Save this, rerun this. So I got the same thing again. Here, username, whatever the username it is, Sovic12345. And here the password is all in now, not visible to me anymore, correct? And then I have a submit, and then have a checkbox, a radio button, and a checkbox. You see, input itself can be used in different combination with attributes to become different components, right? So it is highly, highly, highly essential for you guys to understand what are HTML components, correct? And how to work with them, okay? And I will talk about that in details, right? So guys, today actually we have done with the time, I don't want to really hold you guys back. I want to talk about, I have already, everything that I'm mentioning here is in the video already. I will talk about the last 2 slides or last 3 slides in the next weekend. And I will also upload week 1 and week 2 solutions into our Google Drive. And I will enable you guys with the week number 3. And please, the way you guys are working, I'm pretty sure that, you guys can definitely rock it. So don't really, I mean, put in the same effort and be on time and try to learn the way I am teaching you. Whatever the steps I'm taking, just follow my lead, and you should be absolutely good. I mean, I'm targeting that you have joined in the month of November. So November, December to January, February, March. By March end, we are going to finish up this course. And by that time, you guys will be, absolutely superstar in terms of automation. And by that time, obviously, the market will be much, much, much better than what we are seeing right now. The vaccine is coming, and I hope, that things will be much more easier, and we will have more jobs by 2021 January. I strongly believe that. So yeah, be prepared, because when the right time comes, you should not be in a situation that you don't know how to proceed with it. So be prepared fully, and we will talk about it. I will get you prepared for the interviews, right? So yeah, please continue completing the assignments, and I will see you next weekend. By the way, guys, how was the class? What do you feel about the class today? Yeah, thank you, Matthew. Okay. Others, please. Joanna, Emmanuel. Okay, thank you. Nashwa, great. Okay, guys, please don't feel shy to give me feedback. If you think that I can improve, or if there's any way I can explain things better, just speak up. Yeah. I mean, whatever I just told you today, I am expecting that you should not have any doubt. If you have, please raise the concern. And guys, also, please make sure that you book calls. If you are stuck somewhere, you have the calendar for Gagan as well as for me. Try to clear your doubt in the channel first. Put the doubt in the channel first. If we are not able to solve in the channel, then book a call with Gagan and me. Okay, first try with Gagan, right, and then with me, so that you are absolutely covered, because I have hired a resource for this support. So please try to utilize it. Okay, you will not get this kind of dedicated support in any other company where you are getting someone always behind you. The support is there because I want you to learn things faster. I mean, you can, so for example, you're stuck in particular problem. You can definitely go ahead and you can troubleshoot. You can definitely go ahead and you can spend maybe a couple of hours to figure it out. You can Google and you can figure this out. But the point is, when I have created a support system for you, why do you want to waste your 2 hours? If you are having a problem, straight away, just ask it in the channel, because in the video I have explained it very well. If you're not able to mimic that in your local system, you're just going to ask me in the channel, Gagan or me. I will be responding back. And then if it's still not working, book a call with Gagan immediately. I've hired a resource for that. So please utilize it to the fullest. All right. All right. Good stuff. See you guys next week, 10 a.m. and have a great week ahead. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Souvik.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Great.
Thanks, Souvik.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.